2003 Buick Regal GS. It's 2015 and your grandparents have left you one last gift before they were forced to resign in the senior home. And it was this. But you know what? It's not as bad as you think. Back in 1998, or 1997 and a half to be more specific, Buick released the 4th generation Regal. This Regal was a heavily redesigned version of the previous generation Regal, which strayed away from the original concept of the Regal being a luxury sports coupe, Grand National, and instead being this slightly upscaled economical sedan, a clear byproduct of the early 90s recession. So Buick upscaled and polished this generation more, along with coming out with a new advertising campaign for the Regal, in which they targeted the family demographic, saying that this car was for the supercharged family. Unfortunately though, it's the late 90s and families are buying up SUVs like kids nowadays buy up Mountain Dew and Doritos. So the only demographic this car was appealing to at the time was the elderly patriotic type that refused to buy foreign cars. Because they only believe in supporting American industry, this car was made in Canada, leaving this car to spend most of its life heading to and from Market Basket in the local parish. So now we're back to today and you're stuck with this Buick. But you really don't know what you got because this thing came with a 3.8 liter supercharged V6. Yeah, for some reason GM decided it would be a great idea to put a blower on a Buick. And that Buick was producing 240 horsepower and 280 foot-pounds of torque out of the factory. This made it as quick, if not quicker, than similar cars from the same time period. I mean, look at this chart here. The Regal goes 0 to 60 in 6.6 seconds, compared to the WRX from the same time, which is a second quicker, but probably costs twice as much. And you look at other cars like the Maxima, the Prelude, and the Integra, all are as quick, if not slower, than the Regal. There's also a lot of room to make even more power with these cars, as there's a whole entire aftermarket community dedicated to cars on this platform with other specialized vendors to go along with it, giving you the ability to make this the ultimate sleeper. There are only really two problems with having a heavy car like this with all that power. One of them is gas mileage, kind of. This Regal here gets about 16.5 miles per gallon, but that's mainly with city driving and a lead foot. The only other real problem with the Regal is torque steer. What is torque steer? Well, it happens most in front-wheel drive cars, where the wheel will turn hard in one direction under heavy acceleration. However, it really isn't that much of a problem as long as you hold on to the damn wheel like a normal person. So with all that power, how does it ride? The answer? Like a Buick. You would think GM would do something to improve the handling, but nope, it's just fine as it is. Fine as any other American boat on the road. However, the ride also probably comes down to the seats, which are like an amazing leather couch. And speaking of the seats in the interior, this car is loaded with features. Granted that the quality of the materials used are completely junk. I mean, look at this interior. It's full of Fisher-Price plastic and stuff like this here and this trim piece falling apart. Their interiors are garbage. However, the Regal still has leather heated seats, automatic climate control, sunroof, the list goes on. The amount of creature comforts this car gives you makes it perfect for road trips or long distance commutes, which is also probably the reason why it was used by the elderly to go 10 miles a week. And that's why this car gets so overlooked. It comes off as that massively slow boat rolling out of retirement communities, when in fact it was an upmarket luxury performance sedan meant for a completely different demographic. You can still see Buick struggle trying to get rid of that stereotype today in their advertising by saying, hey, we're hip, old people don't buy our cars. But it doesn't matter. Until Buick does a massive overhaul of the brand like Cadillac did in the early 2000s, they'll still have that image. Which is sad because cars like this Regal get overlooked. And that's why I'm here now telling you what this car really is. So if you're in the market for a car right now and your budget is under $2,500, go look for a Regal. This Regal right here, which is my Regal, cost me $1,300 with 162,000 miles on it. Yes, I realize I'm talking about my car, which makes it sound like I'm completely biased here. But trust me, it isn't, or at least not to that degree. This car is a steal and a gem that you shouldn't overlook. If you don't like the way it looks, fine. You can go and find yourself a Pontiac Grand Prix GTP from around the same time. They're actually the same exact car, but with different badges. And they don't even look like they belong to pensioners. Hell, if you look hard enough, you can find one with a heads-up display. Yeah, they literally made a heads-up display for this car. It's GM, what can I say? The Regal was a car made out of necessity. Made to lift Buick out of the stereotypical hole they dug themselves into during the early 90s. But out of necessity comes greatness. And for Buick, that greatness was only going to translate into success if the Regal got the recognition. And as we know, it didn't. However, for you and I, that greatness is still there. So just go out and drive one if you can. Once you do, you'll understand what the Regal truly is.